A community in mourning is calling on the city to take action after 2 shootings in 3 months. There have been arrests in one, but the other remains unsolved. One resident says the city needs to do more to address the root issue causing violence in her neighborhood.
Unfortunately, like what's happened to Namdi, what's happened to Shaquille, to Brian, and it's terrible to have to list off names of young men. But what's happened to them is only a symptom of a larger issue in the city that hasn't been addressed. Munira Abukar has lived on Scarlettwood Crescent for most of her life, and she believes it's not more police presence or security cameras that will stop the violence that's plagued her neighborhood for years. A lot of these young men, before they actually become the killers they are, become jaded by the lack of services you have in the community, by the lack of opportunities, by the lack of employment. The criminology studies graduate took her concerns straight to Mayor Tory 2 weeks ago when he attended a vigil for the latest man to be killed on her street, Namdi Agba. We need to do more for them in the city. It's not me today, but it's somebody tomorrow. And residents are tired of running out of their houses and doing CPR on people and doing the work for the city.
We've just agreed with the members of this community, Councillor Ford and myself, to sit down with them at their earliest convenience.
The mayor's office tells City News today he's waiting to hear when community members will be available to meet and what they'd like to see on the agenda. But Abukar says she's disappointed it took Agba's death for the mayor to visit her neighborhood, considering how many shootings she's seen on her street.
And this was really a point I was pushing home was, if you're mayor of the entire city, you have to be there when we grieve as a city. You have to be there for all of us when we go through experiences of gun violence and community violence as a whole.
Agba was categorized by police as an innocent victim in his shooting death. The 26-year-old engineering student did not live in the neighborhood and was shot in the back on his way to his car. Days later, police released multiple security videos from the Toronto Community Housing Complex, theorizing that he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, killed because of animosity toward the neighborhood. And 2 weeks later, they made arrests in his case. But the same can't be said for Shaquille Wallace's killers. He was shot 2 months before Agba in almost the same manner, just meters away on his way home from work.
So Namdi was shot right here, and Shaquille just up around the corner. And so the same level of security in terms of the cameras and the same level of monitoring is available to the police.
Though the circumstances are similar, Abukar points out it took 3 months for Toronto police to release a still image of a car connected to Wallace's murder. Abukar thinks these cases aren't being handled equally, and the reason she believes is because one victim lives in Scarlettwood and the other does not.
I'm happy for Namdi's family because they really pushed, but I also am frustrated for Shaquille's family and his mother and his sister in particular, because the same level of pushing that was done by both families was met with very different responses. But because they live in this community, it's like the assumption is that you are a part of what this community has kind of bred, and that's not true. That to me was a key factor that decided, because Namdi lived outside the community, there's this element of innocence that's very blatant and very clear.
Homicide detectives were not available for comment this evening, but a spokesperson for police tells City News there could be any number of reasons for delay in releasing surveillance images. And police have said they have no motive for Shaquille Wallace's murder, and there's no evidence he was involved in crime.
I don't know the entire parameters of the investigation. But of course you become jaded, you become cynical.
Now, residents have organized a meeting with Toronto Community Housing tomorrow, and Area Councillor Michael Ford, who also committed to talking to the neighborhood at Agba's vigil, tells City News he will be in attendance.